I just finished watching Night Always Comes. It's the new 2025 Netflix drama thriller. It stars Vanessa Kirby, who I know from Fantastic Four, The First Steps. That's like the first time I think I've seen her, and now the name Vanessa Kirby registers in my mind. The plot summary of the movie reads: risking everything to secure a future for herself and her brother, Lynette sets out on a dangerous odyssey, confronting her own dark past over the course of one propulsive night. If you do not know who I am, my name is VDK. I make movie bingo cards, which are available on my Substack, vdkfilmclub.substack.com, and I talk about movies. This video is going to be split into a non spoiler section and a spoiler section. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it, starting with non spoilers. This movie is directed by Benjamin Caron. He also did the movie Sharper 2023. I don't think I saw that movie, so I can't really tell you. So I went into this movie fresh. I didn't go in thinking, oh, this is a director I love or do not like. I just went into this movie really majorly because of Vanessa Kirby and because of the trailer that I saw of the movie. It looks very intriguing. I also saw Randall Park in the trailer. I saw Julia Fox, two people I also recognized. So I was like, okay. And then the movie looked compelling from the trailer. I thought I had to check it out. Usually, the movie reminded me of one of my favorite movies called Nightcrawler, where it's a lot of it is shot in the dark. Although that movie is still like that movie is one of my favorite movies. I won't say that this movie is, but visually I remember the Nightcrawler about watching this movie. And then as far as the pacing goes, I think in general, the biggest problem that I personally had with this movie was, and this is no shade to Vanessa Kirby, but and again, I have nothing bad to say about Vanessa Kirby as a person. As the character of Lynette, I don't think she was the best cast for this role. I say that because there were so many moments in this movie that her voice, like the way she speaks, the volume of her voice, took me out of this movie so many times. And I will talk about them more when I'm talking about the spoilers. But this movie, I think, needed somebody that had a little bit more energy than what Vanessa Kirby brought to the character of Lynette. That is what I would say. And this is no, I'm not. This is not a dig against Vanessa Kirby. If you've watched this movie, I would like to know your thoughts and if you think I'm right or wrong. I think this movie too calls for the character of Lynette goes on this odyssey, and it's a very like she's going to the grittier parts of town. You know, this is the darker sides of her life. I will not lie to you. There were so many moments in this movie, almost throughout this movie, that I could not escape into the movie. I didn't really. I just knew I was watching Vanessa Kirby. Like I didn't think I was watching Lynette, a girl who had gone through the things that she had gone through because it's very harrowing in the movie the things she's gone through. But when I'm watching the movie, I'm seeing Vanessa. Like, even the way Vanessa speaks, and it's not, there's nothing she can do about it. It's her voice. But let me give you a part that's not really a spoiler. There's a moment in this movie where she's supposed to be calling a person out from a window. You and I know if there's somebody walking out of my window on the sidewalk, I would go, hey, right? Like, that would be the tone of my voice. Let's say the person's name is Cody. I would go, Cody. In this movie, there was a moment like this where Vanessa Kirby goes, Cody, Cody, in her car to a person on the sidewalk, and the person on the sidewalk is supposed to be livably have that call is supposed to have caught his attention enough for him to turn and answer her. This same character in a different actress's hands would have done a lot more with Lynette. I feel like Lynette would have been more fully realized if a different actress played her. That is what I have to say. Because the movie itself, I have nothing bad to say about it in terms of the director did his job. The story is actually it's a layered story, and we'll talk about that more in the spoiler section. It's a layered story. You think it's about one thing, but it ends up being about a different thing, like a bigger thing. It's more of a personal story. I wouldn't really call this a thriller. I would call this a dramatic thriller. Um, and it's about really this odyssey in her and the journey that this character goes through and the things it reveals in her life and where it ends Lynette up versus where we start. Again, I feel like the movie as itself and for what it does it well. The biggest drawback for this movie to me, and it's so sad to say because I have nothing bad to say about Vanessa Kirby as a person. I'm just saying that for the character of Lynette, I genuinely believe that this was a miscast. I think somebody else would have done this role a lot better and brought the reality, the more gritty reality of this character to life and the darker parts of this character to life. That is all I have to say without giving any more spoilers. I will talk about spoilers more when we get into them and give you specific moments and why I say this. So, finally, without giving any spoilers, if you are going to watch this movie because you want something thrilling, you've seen the trailer, it looks like very action packed, and you really want like a thriller, I wouldn't say it's that. Go into it knowing you're about to watch a dramatic, emphasis on dramatic thriller, and you go into it with an open mind, knowing that again, it's more about the odyssey. It's more about the journey that this character goes on, more so than it is about the thrills and the chase. It's not like the movie Ambulance. It's not like a movie where it's like we are really chasing. It's about the thrill or the action part. It's not that. It's more drama than thriller. Would I recommend this movie? Yes, I think it's definitely worth checking out. So after you finish watching it, you can come back and we can talk spoilers. However, if you have watched this movie, we're going to get into spoilers now. Spoiler alert warning going forward. I will be using my own bingo cards as a point of reference in discussing the movie. Also, I mark my bingo cards numerically. So I mark them one, two, three, four, five, and so on based on how they appear in the movie to keep track of the storyline as we go. I've written notes based on my bingo card for the purpose of this video. First bingo card slot I want to talk about is tents are shown on the sidewalk. When this movie opens, I literally had a note that read, "Oh, we are getting into the real matters." Because the movie really starts off and it's about inflation and people not being able to afford homes and the cost of living. Which, of course, if you're living in 2025, it's a very real thing that we are all seeing and we are all being impacted by. So I thought, okay, this movie is going to kind of tackle that issue. Having watched the movie, yes, it does, because we meet obviously a lot of characters that are living lives that are direct consequences of the wealth disparity that we are currently facing and inflation and the horribleness of life. But I also didn't but the movie didn't do it as, I guess, explicitly as I thought. Like when it really starts off with the people in the tents and homelessness and all of that, we obviously still see this echoed around the movie. Like, but I just didn't think. I thought it was going to be a lot more explicit and obvious than how it ended up being in the movie. That's not a bad thing. It's just like when again you really start the movie off with there's radio hosts talking about inflation crisis and the cost of living and people being homeless, like that was a very big beginning part of the movie. I thought, okay, is this going to be like a recurring, like very like in our face? But it's not that. So I just thought that was the first bingo slot that I wanted to address on my card. The next bingo slot I wanted to talk about was confrontation about a car. And obviously, this is the scene that happens with her mother. I want to talk about her mother for a second, just as a character as a whole. So, in this movie, we see her mother. And again, if you haven't really watched the movie and you do not care about spoilers, the plot of this movie is basically that they're about to get evicted from their home and she has to raise $25,000 by the next day to be able to pay a guy that is like willing to sell the house to her for that price. Her mother, however, doesn't really seem keen on the idea of buying this house, so much so that the day that her and her mother are supposed to go and meet the guy who's supposed to sell them the house, the mother doesn't even show up. And then when Lynette gets back home, she finds out that her mother has bought a brand new car with money that would have gone into paying for the house. So that is when the conversation about this car happens. At this point in the movie, obviously, I'm thinking her mother is so evil. Her mother doesn't really care. And for the most part, I would say that her mother really isn't the most likable person in this movie. I'm going to go a bit forward now to the end of the movie. When we do get back to the mother, though, and that we have the last scene with Lynette and her mother, we learn a little bit more about the mother. And we see that, she's saying things like, when you left Lynette, because it sounds like at the end of the movie, just to go forward a little bit here, it sounds that like Lynette was kind of quote unquote like a rebellious child, but again, not just because she wanted to be a rebellious child. Obviously, Lynette too had needs. She wanted love that the mother wasn't quite giving the way that she wanted it. But what the mother says is, when you left this house, I was still a mother for Kenny because Kenny, her elder brother, needs is special needs and needs special assistance, and so a lot of this movie too, we see Lynette trying to help her brother, and she's trying to get this house also because she does not want social services to come and take her brother away again. So that's one of the reasons why I want this house. And so in the final scene where we see the mother really say, "I was a mother even when you left," you see that this mother too has sacrificed in her own way for this family. And this house that Lynette is trying so hard to save for her own reasons, the mother is trying to let go of the house because she has her own memories in this house and they are not all positive. So the next relevant bingo slot I want to talk about is money is seen on the table. Randall Park is in this movie also, and he plays the character of a rich man who seeks Lynette's sexual company. So he has her as an escort. What I want to talk about with Randall's character, Randall kind of plays Randall's, he acts well, he does the job, but Randall Park, I don't think Randall Park kind of plays Randall Park in these movies. He's not really given, a very different, it's Randall Park. But what I want to talk about with this particular scene was where you really just start seeing, because this is after they've had, so in the context of the movie, they've had sex, and then because she comes to him asking for like money and like telling him her life story, and he's like, well, I don't want to know all of that. I just hire you as an escort. I want to have sex. So they go up to the room. He leaves her $1,000. Normally he gives her 500, but this time he leaves 1,000. But in addition to leaving the 1,000, he also leaves his car key. She spots the car key, takes it, and basically steals his car. In that moment when he steals his car, I am like, what are you doing, Lynette? And when the character says, what are you doing? I say, okay, yeah, this character is very, she doesn't know what she's doing. She's right now just desperate. At that point, I took it that Lynette is just trying to get, like, she doesn't know what is going on. Because again, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you stealing this man's car? Like, what are you going to do with his car? Like, that's not going to give you the money. Like, I was just like, what are you doing? And again, when the character echoed the same sentiments, I was like, okay, so this character is intentionally, like, even the directors and the movie makers here know that she's being irrational right now. This girl is just moving based on adrenaline. Okay, so that already like sets us off on this journey into other side of Lynette, the impulsive side of Lynette, the darker sides of Lynette, which naturally leads to my next bingo slot that I ticked off, which is character with red hair, Julia Fox. Julia Fox played her character so well. I personally like Julia Fox. So when I saw her, I was like, hey, Julia. And she really did a good job. Like, she really brought reality to this character. I think, let me talk for a second. You know how I was talking about how Vanessa Kirby, I feel like a different actress would have brought more life to that role. I think Julia's acting is kind of what I wanted more from Vanessa, where Julia really owned that character of a woman who does sex work, but is dealing with the other side of it, where maybe the man isn't as attracted to you anymore, and the fears that can start coming with that, the insecurity that can start coming with that. A girl who was sleeping on couches, but it's not like the hotel room sheets aren't as good enough anymore. She really played up that character, and she really brought life to that character. That character felt like a fully realized person when Julia Fox played it. And obviously Vanessa Kirby's character Lynette and Julia's character are supposed to have come from very similar backgrounds. And while I really believed Julia's deliverance of her own character in the one scene that she had, Lynette, I struggle to believe more with Vanessa playing it. So I just thought it was so interesting to see Julia Fox in this movie, see how she played her own character, especially in juxtaposition to Vanessa Kirby. I think Julia Fox knocked it out of the park. For me, she was one of the standout performances in this movie for me. Moving ahead in the movie, the next bingo slot I wanted to talk about was a character is slammed into a wall. Now, this is the scene when Lynette and Cody take the safe from Julia Fox's character's boyfriend's house to the people to open it. I thought that this scene was very. Hmm. So, of course, we first get the sense that these people are using drugs and they are on drugs. So maybe their behavior is being altered by drugs, especially like one of the two friends. However, I wanted to talk about something that was happening that really took me out of this movie because I was like, is this what is going on? It's when, but maybe again, there is more to it. But let me tell you the scene now, the issue that I had with it. There's this scene where the guy is basically like, whose stuff is, whose safe is this, whose safe is this. But when he slams her into the wall and then puts a knife on her to her throat, I'm like, is he that pressed about who owns the safe? Because when I think he tells his friend like Carl, like, oh Carl, I think they're trying to set us up. Is that what he said? Something like they're trying to set us up or they're trying to like play us. I'm like, okay, I don't know, something about that whole scene and really slamming her against the wall, putting the knife against her neck, and then saying, who does this safe really belong to? I'm like, are you a Fed? Do you work for the cops? Like, is this a sting gone wrong? Like, because why would he care that much? Like, why would he, the person that just broke this person's safe open, be so interested in trying to find out who exactly owns the safe? It was just very random. Like I just thought like, oh, and then even the way that happened, that whole scene was kind of random to me. I won't lie to you. Where again, she then throws the thing at Carl's head. Carl is kind of like choking on the floor. She's running. I felt like they needed something like action packed or something, but I don't know. That scene, especially just the behavior of the actual people. Like, yes, obviously you can't trust everybody. There's no honor among thieves. Yes, you've brought this safe to the underbelly of town. You can't trust that they're going to be loyal. But the way that it happened, again, putting the knife to her neck and asking who owns the safe, really? I was like, would that be the realistic question that they're asking? Wouldn't it be more so like them just trying to steal the money for themselves, or trying to like cut her, or like threatening her not to come back, otherwise they'll kill her? But what is this emphasis with who really owns the safe? You're lying to me. Who really owns the safe? This is not your safe. I'm like, this is giving more of the questions that the police would ask, more so than a person that's just looking for money for their own self would ask. That was just a very random thing that threw me off. Maybe I'm alone in this. What do you guys think? The next relevant bingo slot I want to talk about was a car runs somebody over. I just want to talk about Cody. The actor Stefan James, he really does play this character really well. I think he also does a very good job in this movie. And when Cody really switches up at the ending, it does this thing where this movie does a lot where all the and again, yes, there's a lot of terrible men in this world. And in Lynette's experience, terrible men. It's just sometimes movies where you're just going like, wow, every single man in this every single man in this production is trash. Because even Cody, that I thought, okay, we finally have a good one, turned out to be also um trash in his own way. Because yes, Lynette too was a mess for not even giving him the 800 that she promised, but at the same time then trying to like steal the whole back from her, trying to essentially rob her, was kind of that was OD. That was a lot. That was like what? So I want to just talk about the character of Stefan James. He did a really good job, and the character of Cody, so disappointing when that happened. I thought, wow, you just were playing music with my brother. I thought we were on the same page, and then to do this, so sad, so disappointing. The next bingo slot that I actually had notes about is glass object is broken over someone's head. So in this movie, she takes drugs over to a man's house, a sleazeball, like a rich sleazeball, who instead of just giving her the money for the cocaine that she's brought, he also now wants to have sex with her. Sleazeball, typical. The thing with this particular scene was, I was like, number one, just as I said earlier, wow, why are men such trash? Because every single man, the man that she goes to, that even gives her the address of this person she comes to deliver the cocaine to, her ex boss that used to pimp her house when she was 16, trash. Her father that left, trash. The man that she's meeting here, trash. I was like, wow, every single man in this movie is trash. But outside of that, she finally raises her voice. Yeah, I want to say that. Vanessa Kirby, the character of Lynette, finally raises her voice. She finally like breaks down, and I'm guessing that this is maybe one of the reasons why this character had been so quiet for the majority of this film. But even when she finally like lashes out, it's like this big moment in this movie, but it doesn't also feel as big. Am I the only one? Like it's a big moment, yes, but I feel like it could still have been more. Maybe it's just Vanessa Kirby's tone of voice. Maybe there's nothing she can do about it. But again, if that was the case, I just think maybe don't play the character of Lynette. I'm just saying that like because she's a producer on this movie. I'm just thinking like if I was a producer and I knew my own abilities and maybe what my voice can and cannot do, will I maybe not opt for somebody else to play this character that could do a better job at it if I know that my voice may not be able to deliver this, or my personality and persona may not be able to deliver this the way it should be delivered to its fullest extent? Wouldn't I get somebody else to do it? I don't know. Also, finally, about this part with the man in the sleazeball in his house. When at the point Lynette slams his head with a glass lamp, and that is when the glass object is broken over someone's head. So she slams his head over with the lamp, and she starts running downstairs in search of her brother. But this man then comes and he's like, so the sleazeball runs out. There's a party, so there's people there, and he's like, this girl just robbed me, and she's harmed me. Let's attack her. And people are like trying to like grab onto her, like they are basically like there's all these people on her, like yeah, let's teach her a lesson, let's do this, let's do that. And it really, you get the sense that they're about to like attack her or beat her, or like really like really viciously attack her. But then she crashes into like a glass aquarium or glass table or something, and she falls to the ground after crashing into the glass, and people just leave her. And I thought that was very abrupt. I thought for people that were really just clamoring for a pound of flesh to do something to her, like let's get her, let's get her. The minute she just crashes into a table and falls to the ground, you're just like, okay, let's let her go. It was so like, oh, I thought you all were just viciously clamoring for her. Now that because she fell down, you're just okay, I guess. Again, I guess that was very random and very abrupt to me. And that brings me to my final thoughts on this movie because then at this point, I guess we've kind of seen the Odyssey because this after this moment when she takes her brother, runs out of this sleazeball's apartment, we then see her again like we saw her at the beginning, like at the opening shot of her standing in front of her house, bloodied back. So we know that okay, this is where we first she's back. The journey, the Odyssey is complete. It's now AM. The night has come to an end. It's morning time. The Odyssey is complete. She's gotten the money. My thing is, was this journey satisfying? The IMDb plot summary says, over the course of one propulsive night. It is propulsive, I guess, but was it thrilling? Again, I feel like in different hands, maybe it would have been. It really sounds like I'm really hating on Vanessa Kirby's acting or Vanessa Kirby. And I have nothing but to say about Vanessa Kirby as a person, as an actress. Loved her in Fantastic for the First Steps. This movie, though, I don't know if she was meant to play Lynette. That's all I have to say. So it brings us to the end of the movie, though, and she's now back home. She's gotten the $25,000, and this is when we now finally see what this movie is really all about, and how I take the ending of this movie. Because now I guess we can talk about the ending and what did you take it to mean. How I take it is, and I wrote notes. I said ultimately, Lynette is just trying to prove her worth because you can tell that she's gone through a lot. You know, the abuse she went through at 16, the things she had to put herself through. There's a moment where she physically out of her mouth says, no, her mother says to her something along the lines of she's a person that screams and she's like, I'm not that kind of person anymore. And at that moment I thought, okay, is this why Vanessa Kirby, the actress, made the decision to just be very, very quiet throughout this movie? But still it doesn't excuse it in my mind. Because I'm like, if you are in a car calling for somebody's attention, you do not go Cody. You go Cody. Like something as simple as that. You can't tell me that that's just because this character is meant to be quiet. Like, be so for real. Anyways, sorry, I'm just so upset by because Vanessa. I feel like Lynette needed on paper. If I saw this script, I think like Lynette would be more energetic than what Vanessa Kirby gave me, and that is, I think, my frustration is that I believe that in a different hand, this movie would have been so much better. Like, anyways, though, it really feels like Lynette is just trying to prove her worth after all that happened with her abuse. And she's trying to be a mom for Kenny because clearly she wasn't really mothered. She didn't really get the love from from her parents the way she would have loved it. She was looking for love so much so that it pushed her to that sleazy old man that was pimping her out at the age of 16. Like she wanted love. And when she did, she kind of abandoned Kenny. So there's so much that this houses. There's so much wrong that happened in this house that it's almost like she's trying to really hold on to this house even though her mother is kind of like, I don't want to be in this house anymore. My memories here are not pleasant. It's like she's trying to repair the things that she did wrong in this house. She's trying to prove her worth. She's trying to like almost get the things she never got from that house. And that's why I think she's really holding on to this house. The house is more so a symbol of everything that went wrong. And it's almost like she feels like if she can just save this house, maybe she can prove something. Maybe she can start to get some of the time that she lost when she wasn't there for Kenny and the mother was when the love she didn't get in this house, like I think that's what the house was more so like all the things she didn't get, all the mistakes that she made. And she just felt like if I can just hold on to this house. But ultimately we see that the man rescinds the deal, she doesn't get the house. And it's like, but it's one of those things in the movies, at the end of the day, she doesn't get what she wants, but she gets what she needs, and what she needs is to really like find herself. And so finally, after the rough night she's had and this odyssey that she's been on, she makes a decision to properly say goodbye to Kenny this time and to say to him like, I feel like I need help, I need something that this house can't give me, that I can't get from here, but I'm going to come back for you. Something that she should have done the first time, really been there for Kenny, but she does it now. Like, I also need help for my own self. So she says goodbye to Kenny, and then she gets into her car and she says out of her mouth, like, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to like love me essentially. I don't remember the exact monologue, but essentially she chooses herself and she says she's going to work on herself and find the love that she never got from that home that she's been fighting for. Because again, the family she did this for, the house she did this for, the path that we've seen her like, that she did all of this for family and she did all of this for them. And at the end of the day, it's like They didn't even want what you were doing all of this for. So she needs to fix something that only her can fix. Ultimately, she lost it, but she found herself, and somehow that was everything. She lost the house, but she found herself, and somehow that was everything. Um, in the words of the great poet Taylor Allison Swift. Um, but I'm joking. But yeah, but ultimately, I think that's what the movie is about. It's a journey really of going through the dark parts of your life, and we really go on this journey with Lynette, and you're fighting for something that nobody else. It was more personal at the end of the day. So I got the themes. There's a lot to be taken from this movie. There's a lot of themes. There's a lot. It's very well done in terms of the writing and the directing. Truly, this movie would have been a lot better if they recast the character of Lynette, which sounds so bad because again, I want to reiterate that I love Vanessa Kirby. I don't have anything bad to say about Vanessa Kirby. Trust me, but this role just was not for her. Like it just wasn't your role, Vanessa. It just wasn't. I'm so sorry. Lynette was for somebody else. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyways, ultimately, those are my thoughts on this movie. If you've watched Night Always Comes, what did you think of this movie? Also, if you want the bingo card that I used for this movie, it's available on my film club, vidikefilmclub.substack.com, as are all the other bingo cards that I've done. Thank you so much for watching this video and for spending this time with me. If you're Vanessa Kirby, please know that I have nothing bad to say about you. It's just that I don't think you are the right person for this role. Till next time, have a wonderful rest of your day and please check out Night Always Comes. It's actually a really good film. I just think that I think I've made my point. Okay, bye. Bye.